Let me tell you, one of the key things that happened today was that I've been in traffic for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Just getting here. And that's what a champion will do. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how you have to go around a different way, as long as you still keep going towards your intended goal and you stay focused on what it is that you're going to be doing. So let's get started with our presentation today. Now, today, I'm just going to talk to everyone that's here and everybody that's online. We're going to just go right into, does your content meet the criteria for a six-figure launch? Yesterday, I told you a little bit about myself, but I believe that what's more important today is for you to learn a little bit more about your business and how you can actually do a six-figure launch. So let's get started. Now, when you think about, does your content meet the criteria for a six-figure launch, let's kind of break that down in determining what the criteria actually is for a six-figure launch. How many of y'all out in the audience want to know what that is, right? Now look, here's the crazy thing. I have on 2 watches. I forgot to take one off. That's just how I was trying to get here and all that traffic. So I'm gonna keep this one on because this one actually, data, content, steps, right? So is your content interactive? Can people that are interacting with you, can they tweet with you? Can they chat with you? Do they have a way to interact with you? Even though most of you have been either here in the studio audience or you've been watching online at networkinglive.com in the Private the Elusive Facebook group, here's the most important thing. You've still been able to be interactive. That's one of the key things. The next thing is that, is your content multimedia compatible? Now, you remember when they first came out with the iPad and you wanted to do a lot of things and it didn't have flash, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, and then you didn't throw it away, right? But people now, they only have a nanosecond of time before they give up. They want to make sure that the systems and the devices that they're using is compatible with the information that you're looking to provide to them. That makes sense? Now, one of the things that Shay said was that I do visual branding, and I do. But it's more so visual components for your marketing collateral. That's one of the most important keys in which I provide a lot of that within our business. And also, Peak Performance Institute by far has the best graphics team I have ever seen. So one of the things that you want to make sure when you want to have a six-figure launch is that your content is visually appealing. You know, that it makes sense, it's relevant, it's speaking to the topic that you're sharing with your target audience. And we're going to talk about that target audience in just a little bit because I'm going to be going to the board. Now, I thought Shay was coming up here to join me, but he's not. I hope that he's turning the air down a little bit. Woo! Because it is warm up here, right? So one of the things that you want to do, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Some of you want, how many of y'all want a six-figure launch, right? Or are some of you trying to figure out, I just want to make a couple of dollars? You know, the street colloquialism type of words and vernaculars, or make a couple of dollars, right? So maybe you want to make a couple of dollars in your business, and that's okay. Or maybe you want to make maybe 10, 20, 30, maybe even $50. Or maybe you're that person that says, you know what, I'm really good if I can just make a couple $100s in the business. Now, here's for the business people that are focused on making a six-figure launch. We're going to have a real conversation here today. Now, I know I can't see you out in virtual land, but I can take your digital applause and your hands up. If this is you, if you want to have a real conversation and you're raising your hand virtually to say, yes, I want a six-figure launch, I want you to go over to Networking Live and I want you to put, yes, I want a six-figure launch in my business. And if you're here in the room, we're going to get to you as well. So one of the other things is that when you are doing a six-figure launch, you want to write funnel on your page and then cross it out. Because we do not support, We're not advocates for it. We don't even use funnels. We use sequences, because who wants to put something in that comes out through the bottom? Said no one, right? You want to figure out a way to retain your customers' attention, retain them as a customer, and keep the money flowing, right? So one of the things that you also want to do is create things that stick. Now, I'm just going to give you an example of what sticks. How many of you have Netflix? Just raise your hand for like the last 6 months. Right? Anybody? How about anybody that's had Netflix for a year or 2 years? Just keep your hands up. Do you realize that $8 is just constantly coming out of your account? And guess what? You're not even thinking about it. You say, oh, it's just $8. But guess what? They created something that sticks to the point. When the last time y'all been to Blockbuster? I know a lot of y'all been to Blackbuster, but I'm talking about Blockbuster, right? When last time? Because someone got in front of the next wave of technology and they created something that sticks. Now, one of the most key important things that you can do in your business is to create digital products. Now, that's one of my favorites. That's where I come alive in terms of content, is when you create digital products, but not just everybody. I know y'all watching, digital products that you can sell without your involvement. Now, one of the key things that people say, oh, I want to make money in my sleep. Well, one, they're afraid to go to sleep because they don't know if they're going to make money. So you need a system, right? The other thing is that an entrepreneur's light is never out. That might be true for some people, but Joan Wilson's light goes out because I have systems that are set up that runs in my sleep. I mean, y'all want to learn about running systems in your sleep, right? So here's one of the most key things, is that you want to package your content so that you can have a six-figure launch. Any lenders? Any lenders online? Any lenders in the room? No Lindas? Okay. Well, let me tell you about Linda. Linda was a young lady that she used to go around and she would go and teach Microsoft at all of these different locations over and over and over again, her and her partner. And guess what? How many of y'all know that it's only one of you? And you can get burnt out real quick if you've got to be in multiple places. Or guess why you started your business? Because of time and money. Now, one of the things that you want to be clear about is that sometimes making more money means less time. Now, if you want to be able to get both, you need to have a way to have a great launch that runs on its own. So here's Linda. Linda told her business partner, she said, you know what, Justin, let's say you're Linda's business partner. You know, Justin, I'm no longer going to keep going to all these different places. I'm just going to package what we do, right? And let's sell it. Guess what Justin said? I don't want to do that. Oh, for real? You remember the Beyonce song? So he went to the left. But Linda kept moving forward. Some of you are stopping short of your greatness. Linda kept packaging. She started posting. She started telling people through content what she was doing. LinkedIn picked her up. Now, I'm talking about $1 billion company that picked her up. And now, guess what? Now, LinkedIn is using her package programs and selling them. She doesn't have to work another day in her life. How many of y'all need to package some things? How many of y'all middle name gonna be Linda leaving out of here, right? Look, I see a hand up over there, right? Right? It's going to be some Lindas. Now, you also see Hulu and you see Netflix, because they also have gotten into the next wave of technology and thinking that they can do something one time. Understand what Netflix is. It's just content. It's packaged content. It's videos. They put them on. They send them to your mailbox. You go and get it. Please return it so the rest of us can enjoy it. You put it back and you send it back to them, right? It's nothing more than packaged content. Same thing with Hulu, on-demand service. Now you're getting the best of everything. My son came and put on his little Chrome thing and all this other stuff. Now I can watch TV. I'm about to click off my cable because now can watch whatever I want to watch. But it's all content, but it's packaged for the user. So let me tell y'all something. Those of you that are in the room, how many of y'all believe success leaves clues, right? I know I do. Because one of the things that I realize is that people like to say, oh no, I don't want to go work with that person. I don't want anybody to know that I don't know how to do that. But here's one thing that's very important. I remember George Fraser, he said, and he's got the Power Networking Conference that's coming up soon, is annual. Here's what he said. If you want to know how successful people are doing what they do, go and work with or for them, right? So that's why so many of us have partnered with Peak Performance Institute, because they're doing something where we can bring in our skill, we can then, iron sharpens iron, that's true, right? So we're now able to connect our skill sets and be able to grow together, because success does leave clues. Now, how many of y'all want the 10 steps for a 6-figure evergreen content launch? They're like, yeah, right? Everybody's ready for this. Now, I'm gonna go through it, and then when I'm finished, I'm gonna go to the board. After I get through a couple more slides, okay? Because I really want you to understand how you really can put your content in a digital servicing system. We call it a digital university here at Peak Performance Institute, and I'm sharing with you today. I never, ever, ever teach this, ever. Not what's on the slides, but what's on the board. I never teach it, because one of the key components is that this is what my clients pay me for. But Shay and Trevor's like, Joan, listen, people need to understand, how do you really service these membership portals, AKA digital universities, right? And I was like, well, no, I'm not sharing that. But I realized this morning, aren't y'all tired of people saying, are you stuck? How many of y'all tired of people saying, are you stuck? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Are you stuck? Then if you get tired of people saying it, then you will shift and do things differently so you're no longer stuck. So stay with me, because we're going to be going to the board, and I promise you, you're no longer going to be stuck. So let's look at step number 1. You need an incentivized offer. Let's just have a moment of silence for all of the dead crap that people give out, right? Let's just be quiet together. Okay, here's the thing. If you're going to give somebody something, give them something of value. Now, I'm going to take a page out of the Street Pharmaceutical book. I'll wait for y'all to catch up on that. Street Pharmaceutical, right? Now, here's what I want you to understand. I'm not advocating, I'm not supporting them, and nor am I a customer of them as well. Now, here's what I know for sure. A street pharmaceutical will give you their best. Am I right? Y'all have all seen The Wire, all that stuff, right? They will give you their best because they know when you come back, you'll pay anything because you gave them value first. Some of you don't have people coming back to you when you give them a free offer or an incentivized offer because you're giving them stuff that either they don't want, it's irrelevant, or it's just some crap. So let's you know, I know that we all do this for the Pledge of Allegiance, but let's just agree that we're no longer going to give people stuff that just don't make no sense. I'm gonna stand in agreement with anybody here, okay? We're saying we're no longer, as of this day, going to give anybody anything that doesn't have value. It doesn't make sense. It will never lead to a sale. What it will lead to is an unhappy person if they ever sign up with you, because that's a direct indication of what's to come. So let's look at number 2. Let's, oh, thank you so much, Justin. Let's take a closer look at this, right? You need a CRM that's capable of an upsell, downsell. Now, you're probably saying, first of all, what's a CRM? I do understand upsell, but what's a downsell? Just stay with me. We're going to be also talking about that when we go to the board. Now, one of the things that we do here within Peak Performance Institute and also in my business is that we also work with you very closely to decide and determine whether or not you need the Cadillac version or you need a low entry point. Because one of the things that people want to make sure that they do, if you're going to position yourself for a six-figure launch, you want to make sure that you're not spending six figures before you get it, right? So one of the things that we do is that maybe you can't afford Infusionsoft right out the gate, right? Maybe you just can't afford it. But you can afford Get Response or Aweber. What, any other ones? Did I miss anyone? Y'all think of any others? Constant Contact, right? So maybe you might have to start off with a lower price point until you're bringing in enough revenue to support a higher price CRM. And we're going to talk about upsell, downsell. You know, many of you have gone through sales pages where you've clicked and it says, but wait. Even if you've looked at some of the presentations today, guess what? It was a but wait. People that bought this also bought that is one of Amazon's favorite thing. You ever been to Amazon and you get ready to cash out? And they said people that bought this also bought that. That's the beauty of an upsell, downsell campaign. Now, here is one of the things that near and dear to me is that when I had suffered the severe brain injury 6 years ago, it impaired my speech. So what I had to do was use the gifts that I had and the talents that I had developed to be able to make marketing collateral that where it replaced me being able to speak. But what your marketing collateral should really do is to replace the normal personal touch conversation that you will have with people, because people want to feel you, they want to understand, and they want a really good visual strategy. So one of the most important things when I go to the board, I never, ever, ever work with my clients without first going through not just a visual content strategy, but an entire strategy. We don't launch, we don't do anything until we get a lot of things up front, because what happens is that now they're able to run their business in their sleep, right? That's what everybody wants to be able to do, and to have a 10K. I mean, have a six-figure launch, right? So Dekeisha talked about a lot of that in her presentation about where's your 100K. Your 100K is when you do your due diligence and create a great strategy. So let's look at this one a little bit closer. Now, if you're someone that at this point you're just like, Joan, I don't have a CRM, I don't have a RMM, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything that's compatible. I don't have anything that's compelling. I don't even know what marketing collateral is, but I don't have it, right? Then here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to put this up here first, because a lot of people, maybe something happens later on in the presentation or you have to go out. But what I see a lot of people that present, they wait to the end. Some people, guess what? You know, Lyman's been talking about focus. A lot of people have been talking about having those nanosecond connections. You also had Vanessa that was talking about how quickly you need to capture people's attention. And also Lyric talked about it in the YouTube. Now, here's the most important thing. You need to go back and watch some of those, because it's very important, because it all ties in together. But if you're interested in having a conversation with myself or one of our certified revenue officers, text champion to 202, y'all know the number, 270-1662, because I'm going to make sure that you champion your content so when you launch it, you stand positioned for a six-figure launch. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Now, here is one of my favorite slides. There's nothing pretty about it. You know, it's graphically, it's appealing, you know. But here's what happened. One of my clients, I was working with her, and I was talking to her, and she was like, well, I need to publish my book. And I said, okay. I said, I said, well, let me see a copy of it. She sent it to me, and I said, oh, okay. I said, how long have you been working on this? She said, 14 years. You hear that silence? That was the same silence I had. I said, how long? She said, 14 years. I said, you're done. She said, no, I'm not. I still need to put some more information into it. You're done, right? Because here's the most important thing I want everybody to understand. Oh, I need to hold in my stomach a little bit. Here's the most important thing that I want everybody to understand. Everybody wants to be a writer, but everybody's not an author. So some things you need to have people to ask you the right questions so you can finish it up. So one of the things that I really enjoy and I pride myself with, even here working with Peak Performance Institute, because when they allow me to work with their clients, I get to know the client. I'm not interested in writing their presentation, their sales pages until I understand who they are, how they think. And that comes through a series of questions. So have a good trend, have somebody ask you not just a whole bunch of irrelevant questions, but the right questions, and then work to have it transcribed. So that's the most important thing, because when you do it that way, guess what? Those 14 years turned into another 60 days. She was finished. I asked her the right questions. I went ahead and ghostwritten the rest of her book. She had some fillers, and she was like, is there anything else? You're done. Let's put a sale on this. Let's get it out there so that you can bless and impact other people's lives. It doesn't take that long for somebody that's skilled in doing it. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about those that have presented before me today, those that's going to come after me today. It takes a team. It's not just one person. In my business, I have a team. I can't do it by myself because I like time and I love money, right? So here's what I want you to understand next. Key step number 6. The light's like bam, right? You need a signature launch deck for your team. Now, for those of you that work a 9 to 5, here's what people, or you've ever been to a network marketing event, that is a training deck. That means that everybody's being acclimated with the same information. So for example, if I give this to one of my team members and say, listen, I want you to go and I want you to present this. That means that they're representing me on my behalf, but the information is not going to change. Now, what I do not like in business is business collateral damage. I want everybody to know what we need to know so nobody gets damaged in the process. Everybody okay with that? Now, if you don't have a deck like this, we're going to give you an opportunity to figure out how can you have a train-the-trainer deck. Some of you are going in, you got people around you, but you're just not utilizing them. And this helps for you to train them because it's just like a script. Our sales cardiologist, Shay Brown, he gives us a script. So we're able to close people when we're talking to them and running appointments. It's very important that you know what's being said because it's a quicker route to a closed sale. Now, how many of y'all want to make more money, right? So you have to craft it out the right way. Now, here is a slide. You're going to need, thank you, Justin, 30 pieces of email, 22 tweets, 18 Facebook copy. You've got to come up with all of that copy. That's a lot, right? Look, the paper done fell off. It's like, come on over here, Joan. That's a lot when you're thinking about writing compelling ad copy. Now, you remember I told you that one of the things that happened when I had my brain injury, it really magnified my gifts. Now, I had been writing plays in the DMV area. I write them, I produce them, I have dinner theaters. Mostly I do them for churches. I really don't do any plays that are secular. They're all Christian-related plays, and I do them at churches because I believe that people need to be able to understand and have fun, and then they're able to receive the information. So one of the things that I realize is that even though my speech was impaired, isn't it great that it didn't stay that way, right? So some of y'all like, yeah, but we need you to get to the board. So, but here's the thing. When you're able to write and you're able to have compelling copy, people are going to keep their eyes on the screen. So that way they're getting the information that they need. So it magnified not only my visual branding gift. I've created websites for y'all Metro Bus, Metro Rail. Let me get something clear here. I did not design the rail system, only their internet, right? I designed the very first internet. Some of y'all have the Smart Trip card. I was on that team for that design, the little green and white card, all of that. And I've been doing presentations and copy and curriculum for well over 30 years. Now, mind you, I started working when I was 5, right? Right? Okay? So one of the things I need you to understand is that it's compelling ad copy. Myself and my brand messaging team, we develop a lot of the copy that's needed when you come in for one of the makeovers or you want to have us to work with you on your digital university. Not only do I do it in my business, but the great thing, I get to come in and work with Peak Performance Institute. And it's a great way to be able to sharpen my skill. All right, we are going to the board. Everybody ready? The board of unlimited revenue. Okay. All righty, here's what I want to talk about. After the prospecting, after the event, after the sales, now comes the servicing. And although this follows this sequence, when I work with my clients, this comes before everything. Because one of the things that happens is that if you put it, for me, this is just Joan, right? If this is out of sequence, right? So let's say I prospect, I have events, I do webinars, I have sales, and somebody strokes me a check for $997. I'm not ready. What if somebody came in here and they said, you know what? I'm ready, Katisha, to give you, I want to understand how I'm going to, I understand that nonprofit doesn't mean no profit, so I want some profit. Are you ready to service them for 12 weeks? Are you ready? Because here's one thing that I know, is that one of the most important things when you're doing business is that you service your clients and your customers and you give them what they paid for in timeliness and in quality. And it has to be value. So let's say that you sold something. Today, everybody's been learning how to set up programs, how to run these webinars, events, and now to close sales. Now, Shay Brown's going to tell you how to make some money, right? But let's say that this happens. How many of you are ready for a 12-week mastermind? Somebody gives you $5,000. They talked about money on the table, right? So here is where's my little assistant, Antonio? I think he went out the room, right? Avatars. The most important thing that everybody's been talking about is avatars, right? I want to give you another term called personas. Now I'm going to ask everybody, have you ever met somebody and you said, Sherrod, you're like, you know what? You remind me of Joan Wilson, right? How about you, Justin? Ever has said, oh, you remind me of somebody. Those are personas. When I work with my clients, we got to get this done up front. Who are they going to be selling to? What are the real person you're going to be selling to? Now let's talk about some of those demographics. Now for me, when I'm networking, I have a certain person in mind. So when I meet them, I know we'll talk about what's in my toolkit, right? I know when I'm talking to somebody, if they remind me of Tanya, I know which one of my programs I need to give them. So let me tell you about Tanya. Tanya, we're not talking about her height, her size, nor her weight. We're talking about who Tanya is in terms of her persona, which is her avatar. So Tanya is a multimillionaire. Most of my clients are high-end clients, but I have a lot of me in my, you know, because I'm not way up here. I have a lot of me in my base, right? But here's the thing. Tanya is a multimillionaire. She runs one of the biggest adoption agencies on the East Coast, and she's made millions of dollars doing it. But guess what? She doesn't want to buy any of my programs. I mean, she doesn't want to buy any of my products. She doesn't want any of my books. And guess what she also doesn't want? She doesn't want me to sell her anything or offer her any network marketing opportunity, right? Guess what Tanya wants? She wants me to develop for her how she can get more time and schedule herself in her calendar. So what I work with Tanya's, when I meet a Tanya, it's somebody that's on a fast pace. They don't have time for themselves. Anybody understand? You don't have time for yourself. You're doing something for everybody else. So Tanya pays me to hold her accountable and to get stuff done for herself. She's already servicing her family. She's helping other families to have the children placed. So that's Tanya, right? But now I also have Nina. So when I see a Nina when I'm out networking, Nina is a person that she's got unconscious confidence. She won't push the buttons on her dreams. She won't push the buttons on her products. She won't push the button to finish her book. She won't push the button to get off the job. She won't push the button. Joan will, and I do, right? Because I have a Nina in my life. LaShonda Bracey is my Nina. She's me. The corner woman needs a corner woman, right? So LaShonda will come in. She's like, hey, when you gonna have that March Madness? Sometime in March. No, which day? And I was like, oh, I will. Well, let me see. Did you do the graphics? Yes. Did you set up all your sequences and Infusionsoft? I was like, yeah, I've got all that stuff done. But the difference is LaShonda has access to all of my passwords. So guess what LaShonda does? She pushes it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not ready, right? But it doesn't matter. I launched. I did everything. So that's a Nina to me. So Nina is one of the personas of the avatars that I know that I'm going to be looking for when I'm networking. One of the things that you don't want to do, and I just want to advise you, when you're networking, don't collect a whole bunch of business cards. Make sure that you're intentionally going out to network. You know who you're looking for and which person you want to put in your revenue cycle, right? It's going to help you in the long term. That makes sense for everybody in here? All right. So let's look at number 3. Now that you know who your avatar is, in terms of building your 6-figure launch, the next thing you want to do is market to the problem. What is Nina and Tanya and Michelle, what are they struggling with? Because if you're going to build any type of marketing, you're going to prospect to Nina, you're going to prospect to Tanya, then you need to understand that you market the problem and you sell the solution. A lot of people are selling the solution before they even realize. That's why people are not listening, is because your product and your services and your goods is not for everybody. It's for people that specifically want and need your product and or your service. So you want to make sure that you understand what the struggle is. Now, this is all very important because when you set up your digital university, you need to know, when we go through this, how this relates to the programs that you're going to put in your digital university. Does that make sense to everybody in here? Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4, what's in your inventory? What do you really have? A lot of times people will come to me, they're like, Joan, I don't have anything. And I'm like, okay. But I'll go to their home. They've got boxes of stuff, right? They done bought every program. They know everything. No, they just have not had someone to be a digital recorder for their mind. So I want you to write an inventory. What do you have? Do you have any e-courses? Are you able to offer free consultation? Now let me stop right here with the free consultation. Make sure that you have a questionnaire before you put them in your business, because one of the things that I set up is that once they have actually taken advantage of the offer, I then immediately send them a questionnaire. I need to know who I'm working with, what are their challenges, and what do they expect to get out of this digital university. Does that make sense? So what happens is that a lot of times people are chasing the money. They want the money so bad that they'll accept anybody into their business. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to have an unsatisfied customer. You're going to have no referrals, and you're going to have some chargebacks, because you cannot put any and everybody in your business, because remember, these are the avatars that you're actually prospecting and that you want to lead to a sale. So this here reinforces whether they're the right person. Now, let me give you a scenario. I had a program, young lady, she paid me for a program. I sent her money back because I already knew that what her challenges were was outside of the scope of what I could help her with. Now, there'll be an opportunity later on where they'll talk about affiliate marketing, but I didn't want anybody to pay me to get this young lady some help. So make sure that you know who is in your circle, who's in your community that can service this person, give them their money back, and then hand them off to another colleague or a coach. Does that make sense? All right. Now, let's talk about pricing. Oh my goodness. Joan, how much did a 4-week program cost? How much did that cost? How much do I do? How much, right? This is going to lead us into the different levels that's in a digital university, right? So how many of y'all want to know what some of the standard prices are, right? And then we're going to up it up, right? So how many of y'all know how much free is? Free, right? So that's free. Now, sometimes people want to take that free consultation and they want to, oh my goodness, keep you on there for hours. So what do you have before you do the free consultations? A questionnaire. That's going to save you time. You know what you're going to talk about, because time is money. If you get on a free consultation and you find out that you've been on there for an hour, you've given money away. And that may not be your business model. If so, that might actually be a ministry, right? But this particular conference, we want to talk about how you can be more profitable. Now, Kat talked about earlier today about how nonprofit doesn't mean no profit. So make sure that you're setting yourself up to get paid. Now, let's say that your consultation is also free. 90-minute consultations normally range anywhere from $247 and up, depending upon what is your price structure. The reason I said $247 is because the only reason somebody's not paying you $247 is because you didn't ask for it. How many of y'all like to get paid $250 per half hour? Right? That's what I'm talking about. So let's say 90 minutes. We're just going to put $247, right? The more people, I don't want Trevor to hijack. I was going to call TSA if he run up here, right? Because he'd be hijacking the presentations. So I'm calling TSA on you. I just need to ask you a question. I don't need you to come up here. I just need you to ask you a question. I'm going to call TSA. Listen. I need an air marshal. I need a presentation marshal. I do not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to the next one. I don't even need the question. So a 4-week. When
Here? You call somebody call Trevor? Somebody call for Trevor?
here's what I want you to explain one thing that's not on the board. I don't even need you up here.
Okay.
I need you here.
Okay, gotcha. You
Now,
don't even hear?
No.
Okay.
Now, when a person gets closer to you, what should you do?
The closer a person gets to you, the more they have to pay.
What I'm talking about,
All right?
right?
The closer they get to you, the more they got to pay.
Right. So if you stay up here any longer, I'm gonna need you to stroke me a check.
So, if they come in to visit you, let's just say on maybe a webinar or something, you might do a free webinar. But all of a sudden, they want to do a conference call with you that's a little bit closer, and you might charge a little bit more money. And then all of a sudden, they want to meet with you on the phone in a group, let's say a group training of sort or group coaching that's a little bit closer. They pay a little bit more money. Then all of a sudden, they want to do one-on-one phone coaching with you. That's a little bit closer. And now they want to come meet with you in person. That's a little bit closer. And every time they get a little closer to you, what you want to realize is that the closer they get to you, the more they have to pay. So most people sequencing is off because they don't factor in proximity into their pricing structure. You have to factor in proximity to your pricing structure. Little things like if they come to the conference, where the conference, they're not that close to you. They're kind of in the audience, but that's why you charge like $200-$300 for the conference. But all of a sudden, they want
How much you charge for the conference?
It's $200, $300, $400, $500. But then all of a sudden, you might want to have a special VIP session upstairs in like a little private room with a few more people, just to kind of
That's intimate.
Right. So you might charge $1,000 to be a part of the VIP session. Then they want to do something one-on-one with you. You charge a little bit more. But the whole point is not trying to get over necessarily, but it's realizing that proximity has a value. The closer you are to the hot seat, you want to talk to Tony Robbins, you need a 7-figure check. Now, you can sit in the audience for $700, but to sit in his house with him is going to be a 7-figure check because he realizes the value of proximity. And so the goal is to realize the value of proximity to your products, to your services, to your company, but more importantly, proximity to you, because things are different when a person is with you.
Now, I'm going to do a Shea Brown. Let's give it up for Trevor Otts.
Hey,
There you go. You going off the stage. Watch your step. Watch your step. All right. Okay, great. Okay. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense, virtual audience? Listen, if you're looking, number one, don't be selfish. Hit the share button over top of the video. Let people know what you're learning, because one of the great things is that if you're in business, that person you might not want that person as a customer, so you might want them to watch it too, right? So 4 weeks. Normally a 4-week program is anywhere from $297 to $497. That's just industry standard. Doesn't have to be your pricing structure, because the one young man, he's Bishop Eric Clark up in Ohio. He said the only reason you don't see yourself driving a $240,000 vehicle is because you don't see yourself driving a $240,000 vehicle. Because prosperity is in what you ask for. You need to ask for the sale. So as they get closer to you, or Trevor talked about the proximity, but as the time is extended, you also, now keep in mind, I'm just giving you group. Right now I'm giving you group prices. So a 6-week, typically $697 to $897, typically, right? Now here's the most important thing about this. When you're looking at how you're going to structure your pricing, make sure that there's enough gap in between here for them to consider that the next level up is a value. Because if it's too close in proximity, I love that word, Trevor, if it's too close in proximity, they may not see that there's any value in that. But one of the things that I loved that Keisha taught, I was watching on the way here. I had all the time in the world to watch. So here's the thing. You can then move people through Trevor calls it his ecosystem. You can move people through the ecosystem where one person may pay you $247 and realize, oh my goodness, I need more time. Well, more time is going to be either $4.97 or $6.97, $8.97, right? So you could easily have a $9.97 client if you're able to convert them on that free consultation. But keep in mind, don't build your business in desperation because it's like a scratch and sniff test. People can smell it a mile away. So when you're working with somebody and you're potentially, you got a prospect, you've done an event, now you want to make a sale, make sure that they meet the avatars, which are based on your programs and the problems, and you have the inventory. Now they're in the right pricing structure. Because if your avatar is set for $1 million earners and you only getting small business owners that only have a small discretionary amount of money, then you have to let them decide where they land in here, but you don't have to start at 247. Because I believe that people will pay for what they want. Pay for, oh Lord, I can't ask Trevor again. Does anybody else in the room know about, something you pay for the results at the level at which you expect? Y'all know that one, right? If you don't know, go on Trevor's page and look at the quote, right? But invest in yourself at the level at which you expect results. So when you're talking to people, one of the most important things that I work with my clients is that a lot of these qualifiers are done in the questionnaire. Because some of you are having conversations where you don't have but so much time, and you're spending a lot of time trying to figure out whether or not they qualify for any of your programs, right? So 90 days, which is your 12-week program. Now, I know this one is at $8.97, so you can definitely knock it down to $7.97. But typically within Peak Performance Institute, we do provide $9.97 programs. So let's say that was a $9.97 program, right? These are all for groups. So when we're going to talk about your membership portals, your digital university, your systems, your servicing systems, right? These are the different levels that we're going to put in the systems. But you need to understand where Tanya, Michelle, Nina, and the rest of them are going to land. Now, these are all grouped. Does that make sense? Now, you remember the proximity. Don't be afraid to have a one-on-one where it's $19.97. Because let me tell you what's going to happen in that $19.97. You're going to give them value and probably more of your time. These other programs, you may actually put them on drip campaigns, and we're going to talk about that within the servicing systems. You may actually drip the content to them, and you may meet with them maybe once a month, depending upon what's your pricing structure and your program-specific elements of what you're going to be offering them, okay? So let's say the one-on-one is $19.97. Now, that may be for any one of these. Your masterminds, this is your high ticket. We're going to talk about this on the flip side. These are your cross sales and your high tickets. Your high ticket may be your $49.97, right? However, how many of y'all paid more than that for a program ever, right? I have. So those are the 10K and the 25K. Now, here's the thing. These 10K and 25K could be a culmination of everything. Some of you are going out there and you're trying to redevelop and trying to create stuff that you already have, right? Because if all of these one-on-ones turned into a $2,000 program, guess what? That's 5 different levels of programs that now add up to a 10K program offering. That make sense? That makes sense to everybody? Okay, let's go a little bit further into the servicing system. Now, I talked about Trevor. He has stole his baby paper, so I have to say, Trevor, I'm sorry talking about you, right? So when you have these different levels, the different levels actually are related to the pricing structure, right? So you're free whenever if you use wish list member, there's some other digital servicing system software that's out there, but I do like wish list member. I think it's easy, it's very intuitive. Anybody can learn how to do it because it's run through your WordPress background. So if you're making all these different pages, you do need a team, because I'm telling you, even though I'm skilled in doing it, I heard Ryan this morning said, I can build web pages. So can I. But when you have a team, you don't have to, right? So one of the levels that when you go to a digital university or membership portal platform is that they have different levels. So you can put your free on the first level. That means everybody has access to some form of content that you've placed in your digital university. The second level, it may not be it may be your bronze level that handles your consult and handles your questionnaire, right? That when somebody you do something for free, a consult, or even a 90-minute, in that digital university, it gives them all of those elements based on what you provide to them. It's your level of access that you're giving to them, right? Now, let's say that you want to offer your 4-week, 6-week, 90-day one-on-one. You can create as many levels as you like. Now, one of the things that I'm going to talk about, and you saw in the previous slide, remember how much ad copy you actually need. Everything that you see here requires that you have emails. You must have email sequences as well, because how are you going to continuously talk to them? You also want to develop some blogs as well, because guess what the blogs are going to do? The blogs, which is a huge money maker, right? The blogs is going to, guess what? Send them back to the prospecting, the events, or the sales that starts this whole process where you can actually get paid. So you want to make sure that you know how to have a team that's going to help you to link those elements back to what it is that you're selling. Now, one of the things I do want to talk to all of you about is that all of these can be different components that you're offering them. One is a do-it-yourself. I call it DIY. Do it yourself. So I'm grown. When I buy a program, I feel like it's a buffet. I don't need you to feed me. I don't need you to serve me. I want to feed myself, right? So I like a do-it-yourself platform. That's just me. I like to pace myself in learning, and I like to be able to eat whatever I want to eat, right? Now, there is also a do it with you. Now, those do it with you may be some of these other elements. When you start getting into your 90 days can be an intensive. You can a lot of people call that an intensive. You can call it that too, right? Now, then that may be that they want you to work with them, do it with them. I call that a DWT. Now, the one that we really oftentimes service within the Peak Performance Institute is the done for you scenario. It's where we already established you don't have the ad copy, you don't have multimedia compatible, you don't have any marketing collateral, and guess what you would like for us to do? Have that kitchen table talk with you, understand who you are, who you're marketing to, develop the prospecting event and the sales sequencing, where now that's a done-for-you solution. So this is what you can also offer to people within your digital university, right? That makes sense for everybody in here? Okay? Now, let's talk about the frequency. Now, the frequency of how you're going to deliver the content. I know I'm a little off screen, but I really want to draw your attention to this. Now, you remember free consult 90 minutes. One time, right? Now you have the drip campaign. This is very good when you're working with extended programs. Or I do like having where you can have e-courses. You can also drip the content on them that way as well. So now you have proficiency. This is what made me the most money, was that a lot of people wanted to have trained the trainer type of scenarios in their business, but the people weren't learning the information the right way. So what they were doing with their sales team, with their marketing team, they had proficiency type of models in place where you had, y'all know, you had to get 70% or greater in order to pass. You can do that with your content, with your digital universities. There's plugins that you can have in your WordPress, but you don't have to worry about that because we're going to talk about how you can get all of that at the end. Everybody okay with that? All right. Now, certifications, similar to the proficiencies. After you've gone through, you have the 4-week, 6-week, you want to make sure that they may want a certificate. Now, one of the most important things, there's a lot of people that have coaching certifications. I have one for life coaching. I have one for Christian life coaching. I have one just for business, right? Here's what you want to understand. As long as you are not offering CEUs, y'all know those are continuing education credits, you can offer coaching certifications and proficiencies under your business name. I would advise you that from a business perspective that you check in with your accountant, you do your due diligence, but you can set this up, the certifications, okay? Now, this is my baby, right? Developing content and curriculum. One of the things that I enjoyed in HR, and Lyman and I were talking about HR yesterday, one of the things that I enjoy is employee engagement. And would you say, Dr. Trey? Here we go. Now, I believe that a lot of people have a lot of problems and they pass them on, and we have to work with those individuals on the job, right? That's why I'm no longer in HR. But one of the things that I realize is that some of the work that most of you are doing is so valuable. One of the most important things that I realized was that when I was working in HR, I developed the first HR Monopoly game. But guess what happened with that HR Monopoly game? It is now the intellectual property of the company that I was working with. So some of you need to take some of your content and your curriculum, just have a conversation. How do you do something? Let's walk through the steps. So yesterday we talked about modules. You're either going to have 4 components and then 6 lessons, or you're going to have 6 modules. You talking to me, Trevor? Or 4 lessons. Go, right? He told me I had 15 minutes, so
You do what you do.
okay, so now you need 24 lessons. Now, there are some superstars in the room. There are some superstars that can go, they have the skill set, and they can go and write the content easily, and they can develop those 24 lessons. However, maybe that's not you. Maybe that's not your skill set. Maybe you can tell us how you do something, because one of the things that we want to do is that we don't want everybody to have a lessons learned. So one of the things that I realized was that in employee engagement, oftentimes there would be a traffic of footprints going to my office, and I did everything but hold up the stop sign, right, Lyman? And here's how I did it. There's a couple things that's very important when you're doing business or you're working with people. It's called 2 C's. I know this is content and curriculum, but I call it competency and capability. Look, you want to get that step in? It's real close to Sunday, right? Competence and capability. Oftentimes, you'll find that people are capable, but they don't have the competency. So it's not that they're not able, it's just not a learned skill at that point. And even though they say sales is a learned skill, that's great. But I also believe that practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent, because you can practice the wrong thing and that becomes a permanent place in your life. So one of the things that you want to do is develop the right type of content and curriculum that really satisfies this amount of money. Hey, Justin, can you flip this for me? I'm working on one little arm. Oh, Antonio, he's going to flip this for me. Get what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm telling you. You want to go the other way? There you go.
This young man has been here all day.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Everybody with me? Anybody lost so far? Okay. Now, let's talk about the content. Because a lot of people can write the lessons. They feel, I know what to say. And guess what? They find themselves, people asking them for the money back. Because it is another thing to say, I can just write content. There's a different skill set to provide valuable content based on the monetary value in which you ask the person to pay you. Because I believe that if you're going to have people that's going to come to you and pay you the money, operate your business with integrity first. Just don't give them junk. Just don't give them subpar content and curriculum and training, because it doesn't serve anybody, and it'll be a monumental nightmare. It'll be a horrific experience. Let's talk about writing up the sales pages. You remember we talked about the avatars, what they're dealing with, marketing the problem, selling the solution. Don't be so quick to sell the solution. You've got to, it's just like dating, right? I ain't been on a date in a long time, but I remember it, right? So I would meet somebody, we would exchange information, and then I would say, so where do you live? What do you drive, right? Want to make sure he got a car, he can pick me up. What do you drive? Where do you live? Where do you work? All those kind of things. What do you don't like about your job? Why aren't you married? All of these things. That's how you write compelling content sales pages. I see so many people that are putting sales pages out there that's asking for the money above the fold. How many of y'all know what above the fold is, right? You've got to be careful that you're not taking them home to mama right on the first date. You've got to be able to actually give them enough benefit. People buy benefits. They buy benefits. I don't care whether it's marriage, whether it's jobs. Most people want the benefits. I love the benefit of being partnered with Peak Performance Institute because success leaves clues. I love being around the energy of competent and capable people. That's what draws me back every single day and week. Lord knows our hip chat is like Twitter on steroids, right? Now, when you're thinking about that sales page, how are you going to interact with them? You remember we talked about all the copy. You still have to communicate with them. Email replaces the normal social behavior that you would have one-to-one. So when they hit your sales page, what is the first thing they should get, Taria? A thank you, right? Thank you, right? You want to give them a thank you. You want to have your email set up. And we talked about some of the CRMs. The lower ones are Aweber, MailChimp, GetResponse. And then the Cadillac one that I really love is Infusionsoft. I use it and love it. And then there are some other pages that you can use. Lead pages, optimized press. But here's what we do at Peak Performance Institute. We give you custom pages. It's customized to your brand. It's customized to you, and it's customized and it's written so it's directly related to your avatars that we identified early on. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Now, how will you provide the service? Are you going to upsell them, downsell them, cross-sell them, or give them a high-ticket sale? Now, some of you are just like, you had me at the cross thing. I don't even know what that is, right? Don't worry about, we're going to give you an opportunity to, if you want to know more about some of these things here that don't make sense, text the word champion to 202-270-1662. Either you're going to talk to myself, Shay Brown, or one of our certified revenue coaches about how to actually understand what a lot of this is. Remember, you're having a conversation, okay? Now, the next thing. Bing, 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 bing. I ain't played a lottery and I ain't been to the casino, but it's something about that sound that you know it's money, right? Now, this is where the money comes in. How are you going to get paid? How are you going to collect your money? right? Is it going to be through Infusionsoft? You know, you can build carts there. Entreport, and I'm going to give you some more. Zaxa, Premium Web Cart, One Shopping Cart, PayPal. Now, the reason I have PayPal at the bottom is because it's something called a chargeback. And if you're using PayPal for your merchant account and somebody says they file a dispute, PayPal will lock up your account until they decide whether or not the information that you provided or the person that's filed the claim against you has a valid point. This happened to me, like I like to die. I was like, I know I got some pennies around here somewhere. I mean, quantities of money make sense when your money is locked up, right? So make sure that when you're looking for your shopping carts and you're collecting credit cards, that you do your due diligence to figure out which type of money-making program is for you. Justin, I'm going to go back to the other side of the room, and I'm going to unstick myself from this paper. Maybe not. It's like the toilet tissue that never dies, right? Okay. And I'm going to finish up the slides. Everybody okay? Yes. Make sense? Yes. Okay. Now that we've gone to the board, I'm going to continue and share a few additional things with you that's going to help you to understand how to have that six-figure launch. And again, there's a discovery session. Remember, kitchen table talk. If you talk to myself, Shay Brown, or one of the certified revenue coaches, be clear about what you need and then be open to allow us to share with you what the recommendation is. Everybody okay with that? It's a recommendation, okay? Now, a content training deck. This is what this is. This is a content training deck. It's neuro-linguistic style of content training deck. It leads to a sale. There's nothing for sale here. There's only discovery sessions if you're interested. But it would lead to a sale. We work with our sales cardiologists to develop the right type of strategy. Not for everybody. It's not cookie cutter. It's for you, your avatars, and the goal that you want to achieve in your business. That makes sense for everybody? Okay, let's take a closer look at step number 9. Now, we just talked about this in its entirety. Now, not only do you want to be able to have an evergreen servicing system, it needs to be able to handle sales, it needs to be able to handle payments. And let me tell you, I hate the fact that I can't use a password for everything. Right? I want to use the same password for everything because I can't remember. When I had my brain injury, my son till this day still knows all my passwords because I couldn't remember them. It was just too many. But there's a little tool out there called Dashlane. I would encourage you to get it. There is a free version and then there's a paid version. I do like the paid version because it allows us within a team environment to be able to pass passwords over an encrypted line, right? So that's something that you may want to also look at. And also, if you need updates to your digital servicing system, does what you're doing provide you to do that with a six-figure launch? Now, a digital sales team. Let me tell you, if I had something to sell here today, oh, I sounded British, didn't I? If I had something to sell here today, I could say text a number and I would have someone from my digital sales team to actually service you. That's how you get paid when you're asleep. Also, the person on the other end, if you establish the right relationship with people that's on your digital sales team, they will help you to close the sale because typically there's an affiliate point system for them. Now, points actually relate to percentages. So if I sold a program, maybe I might get 10% or 20%. You can establish that with your digital sales team so that you could be in the front of a room doing a presentation. You don't have to worry about the back of the room sales because as they're a lot of you heard, give us your best number. You're able to go ahead and have the digital sales team to service them. So if you don't have a sales team, now's a good time to ask for them. How many of y'all want a bonus? Right? So on the count of 3, I want y'all to say, Joan, give us the bonus tip, right? I wish there was some music in here. Justin, is it a way to allow them to hear it in here? Maybe, maybe not. So remember, on the count of 3, I'm going to wait for Justin to tell me. I know y'all want the bonus tip, right? And I think that even when they do American Idol or The Voice and all of that, and they just drag it on like I'm doing until I can find out whether or not there's any music. Are we set? Maybe not. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Now, if you were able to hear it, you would have heard, hold up, wait a minute. Ooh, that's for all the old heads, right? And that means everybody that's 30 and over is an old head. So don't try to act like, oh, no, Miss Joan, we don't know that. Yes, you do. That song never goes old, right? So y'all want the bonus tip, right? If you're ready to have a 6-figure content launch, I wish there was a Vanna here. I know Ryan had asked for one. I wish I had one, but boom. Let's take a look at this. You're going to need a bigger bank account, right? Because when you are creating, then you remember there was all these different levels. Now, when you follow the prospecting sequence, you have the webinar sequence, and then you follow the sales sequence, which Shay is going to be talking about soon, and then you have the 2-day big event blueprint. Let me tell you something. You can have 5 streams of business running at the same time. You remember, they were just programs. You can do VIP and events. How many of y'all like to have like 5 legs of programs and things running when you're prospecting the right way, where you're running the right events, you're putting out the right marketing collateral to actually get them to get their attention, and you're making the sales, right? Then you would definitely need a larger bank account. But some of you just need a blueprint. Somebody, wouldn't y'all just like somebody to hand walk you through this, right? Like, yeah, Joan, I need more than a conversation, right? I need the 1, 2, 3. Now, that is actually a blueprint, and there is a blueprint. Now, I know that, some of my clients are, they're like, you're going to teach that? Yes. Now, here's the difference. It doesn't matter that I took this model out of my business and I'm working with Peak Performance Institute and they have their model, because at the end of the day, most people either have competency or capability problems. They're more than competent to be able to do what I said, but they're incapable of finding the time and money to do it. So that's why you need a team. The solopreneurs are played out. Matter of fact, they laid on the sofa gasping for air because they're tired. They can't seem to get any traction. They're not making the money that they want because they don't have systems and processes in place that works. So if you're that person that wants to get a digital servicing system, it's nothing for sale here today. I don't have anything for sale, okay? I'm only offering you an opportunity to have a conversation. And the conversation, I know it says discovery session because that's what they normally use, but I like the regular old, most of my conversations when I'm running appointment calls, I do it at my kitchen table. I don't do it at my computer because it's something about, y'all know what I'm saying? It's something around being around food, being in the kitchen. It's just like that authentic space. So I'm not telling everybody to go to the kitchen table and run appointments, but what I am saying is that give yourself an opportunity to have some kitchen table talk, for you to share where you are with actually having a 6-figure launch. Allow us to give you a recommendation for a better way that you can develop a roadmap. Everybody okay with that? Just a recommendation. So, because at the end of the day, yes, they call me the business corner woman, but you own your own title. Nobody can compete for your title. You have the championship title. You hold the keys. You give yourself permission. Nobody's stopping you from getting to greatness but yourself. So you can either do it the hard way. You can be laid around Jericho Road gasping for air because you don't have a team and none of this makes sense, but you know that you want to do 6 figures. Or you can do it the easy way. The easy way is having a conversation, getting in a position where you can be the main event. I like the different levels that you can watch in a boxing match. You can watch from back in the back. You can watch from right up front, center ring. But I promise you one thing. The person that's in the fight or the person that's playing in the basketball game, they're having more fun that you ever could have because you paid to see them and they're living out their dreams. Have somebody pay you so you can live out your dreams. My name is Joan Wilson. I'm known as the Business Corner Woman. It's been my pleasure to be here, to work with you, to share with you some of the behind-the-scenes secrets that's going to help you to have a six-figure launch with your content. Also, you can text the word champion. Where are you going to text it? 202-270-1662. Again, you can text the word discovery to 202-270-1662. And that's it. All right. So, are there any questions? You want me to go on this side of the room? I think somebody's going to go get Shay. And are there any questions? What'd you say?